Okay, so we're playing with different things for this fun little abstract. I'm using Boahong paper block. This is the 9 by 12. I will be playing with different brushes and I'll talk about them as I use them. We have these bristle fan brushes. We have an acrylic palette knife. We have a little dropper, and we could use a credit card, all kinds of stuff. So we'll start off with just a simple little wet on wet sky. And then we'll get into our ground. I'm going to mix up some colors first for my sky. Ultramarine blue deep and a little burnt sienna. Get a good amount of this blue paint ready to go because the sky will require a lot of paint. I don't use a teeny bit, I use a really good amount. Okay, you can just grab a simple, now if you're going to figure out where you're going to want your land to be, maybe kind of like down here. How big? The sky is just kind of the background. It's not really the main show here. Put my land kind of like here, right? I'll just grab a simple 2-inch brush, dip it in water, and get this wet. This paper really can soak it up, and it really soaks up the water fairly quickly. It's 100% cotton, and unlike some of the other cotton papers that I've used, like Arche, this one really needs more water and more paint. It's a thirsty guy. Okay, so go in here, get that first sheen down, and then I'll grab my paint. I'm using a 16 Aqua Elite Princeton brush. I might tilt this, put this on just something. Start to play with putting in the sky. I also have this color called, it's another granulating color called Earth Shine Violet. Let's put some of that in. And grab some more burnt sienna. So we can even kind of a fun, even deeper sky. And I kind of go like this. And I swing my brush back and forth. If I want to leave some white, I'll do that for some clouds. Whoop, see what happens when the pigment's not mixed? Oh my goodness. You gotta make sure it's thoroughly mixed, by the way. It's a blunder from me. Going in here and adding my little sky. Now they're kind of connected really. I want to connect this a little bit better. Now it will be always darker on the top and lighter on the bottom. The skies, right? Get those clouds and I'll just dip my brush into the water and I'll drag it down here. I get this nice little cloud. I can leave this little cloud right there. Leave all that dragged in there. Kind of cool with that mineral violet. I can get even darker with the blue in that and maybe in a little Paynes gray. Really kind of dark over this section. A little bit dark up here. Like I said, it would be darker than it would be on the bottom. Kind of really cool. Playing with that stormy sky. Add a little more burnt sienna. Gets a little grayer. Put some of that color here. Just do like a little dabs down in here, underneath those white areas. I always felt like the wet on wet works better than wet on dry. It's faster, it's easier. And really the sky is just supposed to be the background. It's not the main show. It's part of it in this one, but... Okay, don't fuss with it too much. I'm fussing. I gotta stop fussing. Right? And if you wanted some more clouds in here, you can take a paper towel or a brush, tap out a little bit of white. It depends on how you want to play with this. Sometimes I do a little lifting, which is taking just a clear brush, kind of wiggling it and pulling back onto your paper towel. Filling a little bit of color. There. Okay. Got some separation, which I wanted to granulation because it is an abstract. Nobody cares so much about the sky. Let's get to the ground. Let's get to the fun stuff. And I love the dark intensity of that. So this part we're going to have a lot of fun with. I'm going to grab some more paper towels. Bright colors, fun colors, intense colors, whatever you want to do. It's fall, so some oranges, some reds. I'm going to grab some cadmium yellow deep. And a little bit of peacock blue. Make this bright chartreuse green. A little bit more yellow. We're going to use. We also have cadmium red light, which is a great color. A little bit thicker. And cadmium yellow deep itself, which I love. It's a warm yellow. We got burnt umber and this other color that I've been using from Daniel Smith called Quinchridone Sienna, which is fun as well. So if you take it right out of the tube, I'll grab that Quinchridone Sienna if I can find it. You can use the palette knife to put it down. We're going to do a little bit of both. Take my brush again, get this bright chartreuse green. I'm just kind of loosely, this paper is really great. It's got a lot of texture to it. Put my green down. A little dry brush happening, which I like. That bright chartreuse green. Now I'm going to take this palette knife and I can run it through that sienna color, even some burnt umber. Right, we can kind of like start to just tap that in here and down in here. Scrape it in there. Grab a little bit of the yellow. Scrape this down. See, I'm kind of scraping like I would in acrylic. You hear that? Scrape, scrape, scrape. And make sure you have a spray bottle, by the way, also. I'm going to play with this little bit of cobalt in here as well. We're going to have a little fun with this palette knife. Can grab some Prussian blue. Put some of that in there. There's that red. Scraping up some of that color. If you have brilliant orange. Notice I'm scraping down, right? Grab that yellow again. Now we're going to take the spray bottle and we're going to tilt our paper. I'm going to put it on something good here, like this little, tilt it. Come on, spray bottle, work with me. And you spray that stuff you just scraped down. Spray it on the bottom. You can also just take that big old brush that I just did and put some water on the bottom, because water's only going to go where you put water. See? Look at that. Just lightly touch it. See it kind of drip down. All that good stuff. Now this one's not really dripping much because it's way up there and it's kind of thick. You see the pigment's left there. You can kind of manipulate it by moving it across a little bit. This is just having fun with an intuitive kind of painting style. There's no right or wrong with this. Moving the brush over those areas that were scraped. It's bleeding down, right? And then the bottom, just kind of wipe it away a little bit. It's bleeding down. We've got this wonderful little bristle brush. Can mix up some blue. This is ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. Get some nice browns, a little thick. Play with this. Remember, this paper is like really textural. Kind of scrape through there. Have fun with that. Make a deeper green. Can add grass in a bit when it's dry. I'm gonna go back with my yellow. I love like the little lines it leaves. Really kind of cool. And then more Prussian blue. Burnt umber. Just scraping across. Look at that. Really kind of sweet and fun. Really simple, if you think about it, right? Now we have this dropper. It's only going to work if you have very wet paint. And very wet paint on top of it. I want to use a different unusual color though. I have this cobalt turquoise light. Okay, it doesn't want to come out. There it goes. And it's really thick, so I have to kind of loosen it up a little bit. So let's loosen this up. So I could use a dropper, otherwise it's not going to work. I'm going to add water to this. And this color is really great. It's almost chalky sometimes. Let's see if it lifts up in the dropper. Oh, come on, don't fail me. Doesn't want to do it, does it? I could have made it a little looser. There goes some of it. Oh, that was a big drop. was trying to do little ones. Sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. It's always fun to play. You just don't know what to expect. Okay. Big ones. Big blops. It's kind of cool though. Now, if you don't want big blops, you just kind of drag it. I can take that brush, that wonderful fan brush. I kind of drag that blue. See what happens. Get a lot of color in here. I can take a paper towel and kind of lift a little bit of this too. So that could be our first initial land going in there. Can let it dry. We can go back over it with some trees and whatnot. A dry brush, some more intense color. I got that little blue in there. It's not a big deal. But already it's kind of cool, right? Just simple, throwing some color down. Don't know what's going on. You see a lot of that granulation happening on the paper. Really simple. So while it's starting to dry already here, you can take another brush. I'll take a 12 or a 10. Get some thick paint, right? So thicker, if you want to do like fall trees, so cadmium red light, little pyrorubin, even a little burnt umber. Thick. Kind of play with just tapping, still very wet. You can just make these like fall trees, just kind of tapping and wiggling. A little stamp. Kind of pulling that up there. Right? I can add a little bit of yellow. Can add some green trees. So Prussian blue back in here. Add some green in between. So it's still fairly damp, the paper. I'm adding different color trees. Get a little darker with the green by adding more Prussian blue. And some burnt umber. A little deeper green. You can tap like a line like this. It should spread out, almost like an evergreen tree. And tap a little bit in the reds and the oranges. So we have some kind of fall situation happening. Thicker yellow paint. I'm going to go on this side. Now this side is already, it's not as wet. Take some ultramarine blue deep and burnt sienna. We got some nice brown happening here. Thicker. Going across. Dry brushing on this side, right? I feel like this got too saturated with a little darkness. We could just kind of lift a little bit of that intensity red. You know, just like it's starting to happen. It's peaking in the fall. Grab some yellow, some orange. You could tap some of that color on the tops. A little bit of that red in between. And get those fall trees. Now the other side, since it's dry, you could take some clear water. Just kind of put it on top of this area by your greens, and then do the same thing. I kind of just tap in some of the oranges, some bright greens, some of the red, brown tones. Just kind of wiggling my brush. Go back and grab some yellow, the orange. So then you have some green, colorful trees on that side. Little landmass happening there. Now that looks a little bit less abstract. The green. Just like so. So we can have fun if you want to make it more abstract. So it looks less abstract. It's almost realistic. And I'm like, that's not abstract. The sky is kind of abstract. So we can take our little bristle brush, and you're like, no, Ellen, don't do it, but I'm going to do it. I'm just going to go through, pull the colors down. Oh, it's wet. I get this brush wet. Pull the colors down and up a little bit. Start to grab some Paynes gray and burnt umber. Go across. clean off this brush. I'm gonna kind of get this wet. So the color's already kind of left behind, and I'm kind of lifting and tapping, putting that color in there. So you get this kind of really kind of subtle, colorful trees back there, and you kind of just tap that color off. See? Less serious. A little bit more abstract. That's what we're going for. And we got the reds. And we didn't even put any trees. If you want to get the Paynes gray with some burnt umber, a little bit more Paynes gray. Wisp up, down, get some black in there, thicker color. See, now it's getting a little bit better, a little bit abstract. Before it just seemed so realistic. We want that kind of fall feel, but we don't want it to be a hyper-realistic tree. You want to make it feel like you've got the fall trees in there. Maybe it just happens to be like a little mountain now. It's just kind of playing with this, right? Now we have to let this dry. We'll go and add a couple more dry brushes and see where we can come up with this little fun abstract from fall. Okay, so once it's dry, well, it's fairly dry. Once all this madness is dry, we can go back in with some color again. I'll clean up some brushes of mine. I'm taking like a 12 round, and you can grab cadmium red deep, not super loose, a little bit thicker, right out of there, and kind of just drag. And see, I'm tapping a paper towel. I don't want it to be too wet. Drag it across, see that nooks and crannies in the paper. Get that dry brush happening on that side. A little dry brush back here. Right, and then grab my cadmium yellow deep. Do like a thick dry brush happening here. A little bit back here. There's that color that I love, this Quinchridone Sienna that I've been playing with. It's Daniel Smith. I'll clean up my brush again. Tapping a paper towel. No, it's already wet, so just drag a little bit of this bright, intense color. Maybe a little line here, going up. Wiggle. We can roll it for trees, but not serious with the trees, right? I'm loving this little section in here. I don't want to screw this one up. And I have this color, this cobalt turquoise light. It's kind of a fun color to play with. Just always kind of fun when you're doing abstract to add like a bright tone of something thrown in somewhere. Now you could splatter it, or you can move it, whatever works for you. Add just a little touches here and there. So I might throw some, that's too wet. Tap it on my paper towel, remove all the wetness. Just kind of throw some of that here and there, that color. Just going to add some more dry brush. Then I take the clear water and just kind of put in some color here. That's always fun. Just to do an unexpected color that you wouldn't normally expect. And then get some browns back here. I just want to put a little bit of brown, ultramarine blue deep. A little thicker here. Yeah, that already kind of turned into a mountain. And we can kind of like put some shadows of the land back in here. Don't want to fuss with it too much. I might want to take a little bit of this out. If you want to put some grasses in, put some grasses in. I'm kind of loving the colorization here. I might go in and add a little bit yellow, brown, like this brown tone. Kind of sweeping through here. Or even the chartreuse color. With a yellow and a little bit of peacock blue. That bright green. Throwing some of that in there. Bright green. A little bit of green. Okay, I think I'm fairly done. If I did want to finish the edge here, I could just go over here and just throw in some color. Even like another orange, red tone, some blue, some brown. Look at that. Get a little jiggy with it. Swiping up that, get the black, brown. Like your eyes like, what's that in the corner? You know, play around with it. I like to sometimes put paint in and drag it and then remove it with a paper towel. You get some really cool textures. There. So there you go. There's your like simple abstract. You know, it's less abstract if you're putting in actual trees. I had to kind of erase that. And even the sky could be more abstract. So play around with it. Let me know what you think about something like this. I think it's kind of fun. If I want to play with even removing some color too. I know this paper can handle a lot of like, you know, intensity. Some other papers cannot. So you have to figure out what works for you and your papers. I might lift a little bit of color here. And just pull and drag some of this. Yeah. Sometimes it's fun to do this. Drag some of the color out. Let's see what else you get. All the good things. All right, guys. I hope you had fun. I know I did. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.